So, okay, you're going 20 dates a week, or sorry, you've in the past 2 weeks, you've gone on 20 dates. Sometimes you're going on, what's the most amount of dates you've gone on in one day?
Probably 3. Although
3.
I do not like the word date, because like I said, for me, it could be anything, like friendship coming out of it, some type of business opportunity. I feel like the date always means that it has to be something romantic or sexual coming out of it.
No, not
then
necessarily.
You're just hanging out, right?
Like
Dating is for, I feel like dating is for romance. So if you're not dating to connect romantically, then you're just hanging out.
it feels like kind of avoiding the spirit of the question, right? So it's not, he's not asking for like business engagements and things like that, but rather.
Oh, well, it's not clear to me if these are necessarily going into them business meetings or like meeting with friends. What she is saying is that she's meeting men who they've shown a romantic interest in her, but I feel like she's saying that she will not consider it a date if she doesn't have a mutual interest in them, but that is not what would constitute a date, because you can go on a date as a woman and by the end of the date determine you have no romantic interest in the person. That
But
doesn't
you still
mean
went on the date.
You still went on the
Yeah.
date.
That's why it doesn't make any sense.
So okay, we don't really need to address we'll just assume that these are dates that you're going on. But okay, so in 2023, how many dates have you been on, do you think?
Well, this is my recent fuckboy stage.
Oh, it's recent. Okay.
I started like maybe 2 months ago.
2 months ago. Okay.
Before then, I was
so
just streaming at home. Kagan.
I see. Okay. So let's dig into the fuckboy 2-month thing. What's going on? Excuse me. Let me be more specific. How many dates have you gone on in the past 2 months?
Probably about 100.
Okay. 100. Any prospects or not so much? Me?
I have to admit, sorry, it's your helmet collection. It's very fascinating.
Okay.
So I have to admit that LA scenery is not really my cuppa. It's not really my cup of tea.
What's not your cup of tea?
What I noticed in terms of man in LA, it's not quite something I'm interested in so far, just generally speaking. So they're either really, if I had to categorize it, I feel like they're either really successful men that are not very attractive physically, or the ones that are not successful, they're just trying to make it. They're fairly attractive, I suppose, physically, but there's just not enough there. They're just kind of trying too hard sometimes to try to appear somebody they're not, which is understandable. They're just trying to make it.
Wait,
I
what
suppose.
is not your cup of tea? I just missed I didn't hear
Men in LA.
Men
in
LA.
LA. Okay, yes. I see. Okay, so past 2 months, fuckboy phase, 100 dates. Has there ever been, of the 100, these are all like first dates, to be clear, correct?
Pretty much.
Like 100 dates with 100 men.
Different men. Yes.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm in a therapy session.
Have you been on any second dates at all, or no?
I have.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Have any of these in the past 2 months turned into like a situationship or a talking stage, or?
Can you define situationship?
Well, I mean, I don't think it's necessary, but.
English is my second language.
Mine too.
Oh, yours is
yeah.
very
I'll disclose. I was born in France, so.
French language is your first language?
Yes,
it's
French
beautiful.
is my first language. Yeah.
Wow.
I speak it about as well as a kangaroo, though. So, let's see. Did any of these go past a second or third date?
They have, but like I said, because of how I was raised, I'm still taking it slow.
Taking it slow.
It's like I don't want to rush anything. I don't want to do any first encounter or pity sex anymore. I just want to do
sex anymore. So
yeah,
you have
I've done it.
You've done pity sex.
I've done that once.
Lucky guy. Good for him.
Why do men do that?
Do what? Were you like guilted? That's kind of weird on the guy's part. Not gonna lie. Just take the L.
I just feel bad for them. You know, they try. They're like little puppies, and then just look at you like, just like they're trying, and they're very kind to you and attentive, and you're like, fine.
That's like
the alternative of female manipulation, where they do the exact same type
I
of
was
thing.
gonna say, like, so you just like a fuck boy. It kind of, I don't know. That sounds like a good guy to me.
But maybe she just doesn't like him.
Well, some guys, I feel like some girls just naturally like, you know, like the bad boy, like, thing going on, you know what I mean?
Is that the vibe that you get from me?
No, just off of what you just said.
I don't know.
It's like, it doesn't seem like a, you know, a more shy guy. Like, it seems like you like a guy who's like, take charge and like, more like, you know, I don't know how
That's actually a good point. But then again, you still need to like him. Imagine a guy takes too much charge, as you said it, and you're not really into him. This is where issues
Well, of course,
happen.
you need to be interested and attracted to the guy. But
Honestly,
when it
this
comes to
is-
the pity sex thing, really quick, it's not clear to me if the most attractive thing a woman can say before sex is, "I guess we can fuck." Like, that's not a turn on for me, anyways. But whatever.
Well, I think I also was trying to sort of get over the last
Sympathy fuck.
person that
Oh,
I
okay.
was somewhat seeing before those 2 months started, even though it wasn't officially a relationship, but I was seeing
I see.
him for a little while.
Okay. All right. Well, maybe we can come back to some of that stuff. But out of curiosity, if you're open with sharing, of the 100 first dates that you went on, how many of them did you get intimate with? Did you?
Are we talking about sex?
Yes. P
So-
in the V, sexual intercourse.
P in the V?
P in the V, sexual intercourse.
P in what V?
P in what V?
I'm not familiar with
P in the
term.
V?
See the P word on here?
P in the V? P in the V.
What's the V? Vagina? Why would you pee in a vagina?
No. Some girls are into that.
Oh,
no,
penis.
penis.
Say that
Penis
word?
in
Okay.
P in the V. Sex.
Okay, so out of all of those, it was just one, and it was the pity sex, and I will never do that
And it was
again.
the pity sex. The one
Yes.
guy, and even then you didn't really. Okay, all right. I mean, I kind of got to put some respect on that because, like, that's a good ratio. 100 guys, you turn all 100 down except for one, and even the one, it was kind of like.
But that's not for me. Like, I don't pride myself on having
No,
little
that's
sex.
good.
I would
Good for you.
prefer to have more, but I feel like it's hard for me to be attracted to men these days.
Physically attracted or
I think
other ways?
you have to be attracted on both levels. Like, physical is not enough. It has to be mental and physical.
mental? So you're sapiosexual, maybe.
I like how that sounds.
Okay.
I also believe that liberalism is killing testosterone in men these days.
Oh.
I would prefer that the man is more assertive, not like caveman
Yeah.
way, not like he's gonna put me over his shoulder and take me home, but more
That is
so-
what she wants, though. That is
yeah,
what you
but
want.
at the same time, you want to make sure that the woman is attracted to you. Cause
Have you ever had a wall slam?
Could you define that for me, Brian?
A wall slam?
Somebody slammed me across the
No,
wall.
like let's say you're making out with a guy and he grabs you by your hair and like he's not like abusing you, but like push it like okay.
You're talking about rough sex.
No, not even like if you're just making out. I mean, it could be within sex, but like a wall slam.
I feel like they
Is that what you're-
tried
is that kind of what-
something. Okay, yeah.
Is that what you're talking about?
Something
what you
like
want?
that, but I always felt like it was fake. I always felt like I'm still the dominant one, and I don't want
Tell
to
us
feel
how
that
you
with a
dom
man.
men in the bedroom.
I don't.
You don't, but you said you're the dominant one.
I feel like I'm still
But like the leader, not necessarily sexually, but like
yes, mentally, like
leading the
psychologically.
interaction. I
Like
see.
I know what's gonna happen. I know where this
Okay.
is gonna go. I basically have. I don't want to say an upper hand. It almost feels like it's a game, but yeah, I don't feel like a man has more than me overall. Does that make
well,
sense?
you're an attractive woman. You're successful. I wonder if perhaps that plays a part of it, but I would say, generally speaking, though, women typically do have the upper hand in courtship because the men are pursuing you.
Right.
So that's a position of power, I would say.
But I still feel like on many levels, you as a woman should feel like you can learn from a man. Otherwise, where's the attraction? If you feel like you're stronger, smarter, better looking, like anything in terms of qualities that generally society values, that you have more combined than the
Sure.
man, what is the point of being with the man? Otherwise, I'm going to eat him for breakfast.
Okay.